Okay, everybody, so we're on our way to the CDC and we get a call to divert and come to the family home of the Wright family. And we're going to be telling a story of Caitlin, and Caitlin was killed by the Gardasil vaccine at age 19. So it's this January this year. Come sit down. So it's extremely raw, and her mother's wants to tell this story in Caitlin's memory and hope that this never ever happens to anyone else again. So that's what we're about to do. Hi, thank you so much for having us here to tell this devastating story of your daughter. So let's go back to, let's talk about Caitlin as a baby and a toddler, and tell us how she was as a child.
Always more advanced. She was walking at 9 months old. She was always so tall that no one really believed, her age. At 2, she looked like she was 5. At 5, she looked like she was 9. She was full of life, just a happy kid. Just a sweet, sweet, sweet baby. Never met a stranger. Was a friend to all. She was just a sweet, loving child. Just precious.
She's a beautiful baby.
She was a beautiful baby.
Beautiful. All right, so what was your feelings on vaccination? Did you vaccinate her as a baby? How did you feel about them?
As an infant, we went through the regular vaccination process with our pediatrician. And as a child, she really had no issues or problems with the vaccines, to my knowledge. Who knows underneath what problems it may have caused. She did have asthma, which could be attributed to vaccination.
But she was an incredibly athletic child, wasn't she? Full of life, and there's trophies, and you can see this whole house is full of her energy.
Yes. She was very athletic. She loved basketball. That was the sport of choice for her. As she was so tall, she was just really good at it. And she was just sweet, just a sweet girl.
And then you had another child, didn't you?
I did. When Caitlin was almost 4, about 3 and a half, I had Allie, her sister. When she was, I guess it was that Christmas before, when she was about 2 and a half, she jumps in Santa's lap, and Santa asked what she wanted for Christmas, and she said a baby sister. So the next year, she got one. And Allie and her were best friends.
Look, there's a beautiful picture here of her holding Allie. Allie can't be very old at all.
She was, that was Easter. She was born March 7th, probably just maybe 5 or 6 weeks old. I probably shouldn't honestly have had her there getting her picture made, but I wanted to get an Easter picture of the girls that year.
Beautiful. So let's talk about how she came to have the Gardasil vaccine.
At her 11-year-old checkup, for her physical for basketball, the pediatrician pushed me and said, wouldn't you like her to have the Gardasil shot? And I said, I don't know. Is it mandatory? Is it something that she has to have? I just felt like she'd already been vaccinated to what she needed for school standards. And I really didn't know that I wanted to really do that.
Why? So she was a big athlete. We've got pictures here of her. She's in the school teams.
6'1".
And why is the Gardasil needed for sport? Why were they doing that?
It's not needed. I denied it the first time. She went back maybe 3 months later for a sick visit, and they pushed it on me at a sick visit.
Do you remember what she was sick for when you went in?
Just regular cold symptoms, runny nose, little congestion, not really much of anything. And the pediatrician did her hardcore press with me and said, do you want your daughter to get cervical cancer? And I had a friend of mine whose mother, the year previous, had gotten cervical cancer and died. And it was too late when they found it to do anything about it. So I guess that rang in my mind, and she pushed my buttons just enough trying to make me feel like a bad mother if I didn't give Caitlin the shot. You know, do you want your daughter to get cervical cancer? Who wants their child to get cancer? I really wasn't educated about Gardasil at the time, so I allowed the vaccination. The biggest mistake of my life.
So describe what happened after the first vaccine.
After the first vaccination, Caitlin did show a little symptoms of, we thought she had appendicitis or a ruptured appendix. Actually had to go to the ER and have some imaging done of her area to make sure that she wasn't, you know, having those kinds of issues. And they didn't find anything. It was inconclusive. So a few days later, she went back to playing basketball, and she was fine for a while.
And how long after did she have her second Gardasil?
She had the second shot 11 months later. You're supposed to have them closer together, but she was never sick. She was always healthy. So we weren't at the pediatrician's office until time to do another, well, you know, a healthy check visit so you could get your physical for sports. And that's when she got the second shot.
All right, and so how did she feel after the second shot?
She was a little dizzy, but we passed it off as just maybe just being overexerted because she had a personal trainer that she worked out with for basketball other than just being on a team. She worked out up 6 or 7 days a week for basketball. She wanted to play college ball. So we just brushed it off as maybe just fatigue.
Did you see a doctor about the dizziness? Or?
No.
I'm asking because of all the stories that we talk about. The Gardasil, dizziness is the number one complaint after leg pain. So
Leg pain was excruciating. She became symptomatic maybe 6 months later. Her first major symptom was excruciating head pain, like the worst migraine you could ever have times 10. It was so bad that I'm not a dramatic person. We usually, if it's a cold, we do sinus rinses and wait for it usually 10 days and it gets better. We don't really do a lot of antibiotics in our house. So it was really bad. She was crying, and this is a kid that rough and tough, you know, plays aggressive ball down low where you bruise people up and they bruise you. So if she's crying, there's really something wrong. So we go to the ER. And
how old is she at this point?
At this point, the first symptom she had was May 31st, 2012. So the first symptom she had, she was 14. Okay. The major symptom, she was 14. It was unbearable. She became light sensitive. She became sound sensitive. She had to be in a dark room just for the fact that her pain was that excruciating. Doctors couldn't find anything wrong with her. They weren't looking at the right things. They weren't pulling the right tests. They weren't looking for the right answers because we were hospitalized from her first symptom in May 31st of 2012 until that Thanksgiving. We were hospitalized 3 separate occasions for a total of 32 days. In those 32 days, we had MRIs, we had...
Just after the second one or the third one?
The second or the third.
But a Gardasil vaccine?
Second shot.
So
she never had the third.
She never had the third. This is just only after 2?
2 shots.
Okay.
Yeah. She was hospitalized. The doctor asked me, had she been vaccinated recently? And my answer by the time we were there, the first hospital visit, it had been 10 or 11 months. And he said, well, then this couldn't be vaccine related, the neurologist. So
did you bring up that you thought it may be?
At that point, I had no idea what was wrong with my daughter. I really had no idea what was wrong with Caitlin. Not being in the medical profession, I'm an event planner, I had no idea what was wrong with my daughter. And I was desperately seeking answers. I was so scared. And she was scared. Just desperately seeking answers. And they had no answers for me. One of the best children's hospitals in the Southeast, they had no idea what was wrong with my child.
So while you were in hospital for that time, what were they doing? Just performing a lot of tests?
giving her heavy-duty, like IV narcotics to try to get the pain under control. And, at a certain point, this is the hardest part, because they thought it was in her head. They thought it was psychological because she was a teenager. And by the third visit, they really had stopped listening to us. And I said, this is a varsity athlete that is so loved at home. She's had no life changes. No one in her family has passed away. She's not having any issues with her friends. She's a well-respected athlete that people really like. And she gets attention at home and on the court. I said, she's not attention-seeking. Because they said, teenagers can be attention-seeking. And we went through that for about 5 or 6 days. They wanted to put her on antidepressants. I finally said, okay, you think this is psychological, and it's not. And I knew we would not move past this point to get a diagnosis. So I said, please have psychology send somebody out here from that unit, and I want her evaluated. Because I know this is not what it is. But to get you to move forward, we're going to have to do this. And Caitlin didn't want to do it. Because basically she thought they were saying she was crazy. That all these pains were not real. And that she really wasn't sick. And that was a really tough time for her. So terrible. Sorry. At that point, the GI doctor, by the third hospitalization in November, it had gotten so bad she started cycle vomiting. And she can't keep anything down. And I was getting scared. So she had to have a NG tube placed so that she could have nutrition. That lasted, I started seeing a chiropractor. He works with athletes. And he thought maybe it had been concussion related. So he put her in a hyperbaric chamber. And she started getting hyperbaric therapy. And with microcurrent. And chiropractic. And she started to get a little better for a little while with the cycle vomiting. Pain was still very real. Cycle vomiting, he got it under control for 2 weeks. And she was able to eat for 2 weeks. And then she was never able to eat again. The NG tube wouldn't work, and we had to be put on a port for nutrition, which she was on for 3 years.
3 years.
The child never ate a meal for 3 years. And if that wasn't bad enough, if she hadn't suffered enough pain, then she had this excruciating long bone pain in her legs, and we would have to ice her legs down to give her relief. And she was miserable. She was just miserable. And she would say to me, she'd say, I want to go home. And she would be in this house and she would say, I want to go home. And she was talking about to be with the Lord because she was just in so much pain. This is early on. This child went through this for 3.5 long years. She suffered. She started having seizures. We finally found a doctor who was willing to look outside the box. And she's here in this area. Her name's Dr. Ellie Campbell. And she decided that she had autoimmune encephalitis that might have been driven from vaccine injury. So there was a brand new test. Still didn't really know what was wrong with my child, that this was Gardasil injury. We're just trying to get a diagnosis for some kind of treatment and help. And there was a seminar she just went to with a doctor who was involved with the National Institute of Health. She pioneered a new test for autoimmune, being able to find it in children. And it was called the Cunningham Panel. And Caitlin had that test done. It took over a month to get the results back. But December of 2014, Dr. Campbell called me, and you would have thought she won the lottery. She had a diagnosis, a partial diagnosis for my child, that she had autoimmune encephalitis, which is a brain infection, which was causing and triggering the seizures, which she believed came from the magic, as she called it, the magic smoking bullet, the Gardasil shot. Caitlin's seizures never went away. She endured them, and they were miserable. They came on the same time every day, and they would go into the wee hours of the morning. And I didn't leave this house hardly ever. Somebody always had to be with her. I worked from home, and I was her nurse, and I was her mom. She was miserable. She would have seizures and she would cry. It was so painful. It would shake her whole body and her head that already hurts. And it made everything 10 times worse. It was just so miserable for her. And I had to sit with her because she had had during this time period, she gotten a huge pulmonary embolism. So she had to be on blood thinners. Probably for the rest of her life if she would have lived. And with seizures, you can hit your head, and she's on blood thinners, so she had to be monitored all the time. The life that she lived for the last 3.5 years was misery. And then she died on January 12th of this year. After all the struggles and fights, and we thought she was finally getting a little better. She went to sleep. She wasn't feeling good during the day. And I went in to check on her. And she looked like she was very still. She was in her bed. And she had passed away. And I tried to revive her, but she was gone. And there was nothing at that point I could do. I would have given my life for hers. That so many times. Just for her suffering, not to me, and just to give it to me. She couldn't walk. She didn't have a life. It wasn't fair. That one decision I made. My daughter doesn't have a sister anymore. That is the only peace that I have, is that child doesn't have to suffer anymore. And that she can walk, and that she has no pain, and that she's happy. Because the last 4 years of her life were terrible.
She was beautiful, beautiful girl.
She was full of love. Full everybody that knew her. She just had a light about her. There was something special about Caitlin. She loved everybody. She loved special needs kids. I think maybe if she'd had the chance to grow up, she probably would have been a special needs teacher or someone who worked with special needs kids. She was a peer mentor for them. She was just a good kid. While other kids were trying drugs and alcohol, my child just wanted to play basketball. She was just a good kid. And her mom made a bad choice.
No, you didn't. We trusted. Everybody trusted. We trusted. And we were lied to.
Oh God, we were lied to.
And this is why it's going to stop.
Cervical cancer in America, after researching it and finding out what was wrong with Caitlin, I have a better chance of probably winning the lottery. And that shot only works on 4 of probably 50 or 60 strains of it. If she would have gotten HPV, she would have been better off having a pap smear yearly. And she would have been better off because she wouldn't be dead.
What did they put down as her cause of death?
Her doctor put down Gardasil related.
And has this been filed? Is it?
Yes. It's on her death certificate.
That's powerful. Everybody's going to know about Caitlin's story. We're going to make sure of that. The world is going to know about Caitlin and what happened to her. You have our promise on that.
She would have done great things.
She would have done, but now she's going to do great things because she's going to save other babies and she's going to save other people. And I'm sorry, we're so sorry for your pain. But please know, we will make sure that everybody knows what happened to your daughter. That's our promise. Now, how's your other daughter doing?
With everything that Caitlin went through, into the years leading up to her death. Allie saw that. And Allie had to deal with that. Allie has a lot of anxiety issues.
She's 3 years younger.
3 years younger. You know, just for a simple example, last weekend was homecoming. She had a date. Usually her sister would tell her what she thought of her hair. They would have picked out how she would have done her hair, her makeup, her dress. She didn't have that. Came down Sunday morning after homecoming. She was sitting down here watching the movie Sisters on television. And she's a strong kid. She's had to push the stuff down for so long. That was my sign that she wasn't okay with all of this right now, that she was having a hard time. And the other night she just broke down and she lost it. And she's just so sad. She can't understand why it had to be her sister. And she can't understand because she's just such a good kid. And not that you want anything to happen to anybody's kid, but she was just a good kid. And it's been hard for Allie. It's been really hard. She's strong. She's had to be strong. She had to grow up faster than she should have, because when she's a sophomore in high school, and when Caitlin first became sick, it was the summer of her 5th grade. So ever since she was a little girl, that's all she's known. And it's selfish of us to want her back, but we just want her back, and we just miss her so bad. This is 9 months later, and it doesn't go away. Every day is like this. Every day I may not cry to the world, and every day I may put on my happy face for my other daughter, but every day down deep, she's not here. She's 5 miles down the road in a memorial cemetery in a mausoleum, and that's not fair. So Merck could line their stockholders' pocketbooks. That's not fair.
No, that's not fair. What these people are going to do, that are watching you now, they're going to share with everything we have, Caitlin's story, and everybody's going to know what happened to your daughter and what was taken away from you. I promise. That's all we're going to do, okay? Now, I know that these people watching you now are going to want to send you love. They want to do that. I don't even have to look. I know that's what's happening. Now, are you on Facebook?
Yes.
Can they contact you and send you love? Can they private message you and just send you heart? I know that if Josh turns that camera around, you're going to have so much love that you will. I mean, this is a whole tribe of people. See, told you. I didn't even have to look. I knew it. These people want to support you, and there are people I know that have lost babies and children, and people that have damaged. Everybody has damaged beyond belief. So if you will allow them, they would love to send you love, and that's totally up to you. And is there anything that we can do for your family, anything at all, for your daughter, your husband, for yourself, you must tell us, because that's what we do.
I think what you're doing right now is so important, and God bless you for it. All of you.
This is God. This is not us. This is God. Right, now she has given us a photograph of Caitlin, so Caitlin's going to travel up front with us.
She'd love that.
We're going to sign Caitlin, but on the way out to sign Caitlin's name, we're going to show you some of her trophies. There are many, many more pictures here, which Josh is going to take photographs. Oh, we've got a video. You want to see her? Come here. Sorry, Josh, I know I've moved. Is that a problem? Yes, always a problem. I'm going to show you a video of this beautiful girl.
Let me get my computer up. I'm sorry. It was up, and I guess I
So
cried.
that's Caitlin with her sister, Allie.
That's Caitlin when she was younger, and that's Allie, yes. They're my screensaver. She keeps me straight. Let's see if I can find the one on the boat. Here's the one we used to, before we put our pool in, we had a boat, and Caitlin loved it. She and I would sit up front, and it was my relaxation, and hers too, from sports. I'll pull it up. It's just a little snippet.
How old is she though?
About 14. That's right before she's...
What year, girl? 2011.
the year before she got sick.
How do we get stuff? Same day.
She looks like a fun. In fact, I have to tell you guys, this is the kind of character that Caitlin had. Even when she was really sick in hospital, I just want to show you how she is a bit of a joker.
She was.
And so there she is. She's very, very sick, but she stuck a moustache on herself.
You can see the feeding
And
tube
she's
on the
still,
side.
she's feeding tube on the side. She's very sick, and her face got very bloated from the drugs that they were giving her. In fact, you talked earlier about how, you see how
Grandfather.
it bloated her out. There she is with her grandpa, and she's just smiling the whole time. And there she is in hospital, trying to make everybody laugh. And
Even when
again,
she felt sick.
you know, even though she felt sick as well.
That was her birthday.
That's her birthday.
We did a week of Caitlin.
She's bloated out on these drugs. So she was a fun-loving, beautiful girl. I was so deeply sorry for you, and there's no words. But please know that we are here for you. All of these people on here are here for you. You just got to tell us. And tell them, if you ever want to tell them how they can contact you, they will. These people shower love like you would not believe. So you're never alone.
Thank you.
And I know you know Teresa Robinson, Hannah Robinson's mum.
She's so
And
sweet.
she's a beautiful lady. Are you ready to sign her name?
Yes, I'm gonna.
Let's
sign
go and
it.
put her photograph on the bus. I'm so honoured that she's going to be travelling with us. Let me take, we've been given this photograph. So as we come out here, I just want to show you, these are her trophies. She's very, very sporty. So what was this trophy for?
This was the best overall player at sports camp in 2010. She was very proud of that one. She's got numerous trophies. I just brought a few down so you could see them.
More trophies. Yeah, you sport. If you know.
Then we did, she went to a private camp Pat Summit did before she passed away. She always wanted to play ball for Tennessee, and the whole team signed it for her.
And there's her.
And then I had her shoes specially made. It says Caitlin, and then her number that year were 40. And I just kept them because I didn't want
So
to.
what does 40 mean? Her baseball
That
number?
was her basketball number.
I mean, sorry, basketball.
Mhm.
All right. Well, America, you've just lost what potentially could have been an amazing basketball player for this country. Beautiful pictures of a fun. You can tell the joy, and you guys had fun times. I can see, and
We did.
It's just so
Even though her
hard.
life was short, it was full. And we had so much fun. Even when she was sick, we still had fun.
and how are her friends coping?
They still contact me. They still text me on occasion, private Facebook me, and I think that she has become like an inspiration to them because she was such a sweet soul. I think they've just found a way of it making them want to be kinder individuals. That's what they've all told me. They want to be kinder. They want to be more like her. Actually, one of the little girls wrote a blog about Caitlin and a tribute to her life that she lived here, and
We'd love to have that if you
I'll
can.
get you a copy of that.
See, look at this wonderful American family, the perfect American family. And America just systematically screwed that up. Well done, CDC. Good job, we're on our way to see you. Let's go. All right, we're on our way to CDC. We will not let you down, do not worry. All right, so now we've got to find the space that you want. I'll show you where Hannah is, actually. I'll see if there's any space near Hannah. Lee and everybody.
Oh, look at the kid. I cried like a baby. I'm sorry. I was trying to be. I was going to be professional, but I just didn't have. Thank you for telling her story. I told her we forgot.
Mwah, mwah. Oh, your daughter Ali our love as well.
Yes.
Tell her that we're here for her too.
They will.
A lot for her.
It's been hard for her. You know, being 15 is tough anyway, but this makes it much worse.
I think you need to get in contact with Emily. Oh, look, let's go and show you where she's going to be on the bus.
Okay, cool.
We're going to have Caitlin travel up front. I'm going to put her here. She's going to fight this battle with us. She will be with us all the way. We're going to do this. Let me walk you back to your house. Thank you so much.
I've got donuts. I know.
I got them. All right, I want you to say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye.
Everybody loves you, and we're gonna fight for your daughter.
And fight for the other ones that moms are watching this, that daughters are sick as well. Thinking about all you guys and praying for all of you and our babies.
We love you.
Love you too.